My name is Kelly Gray, and I am mother to two daughters, one being Riley Gray, who ended up having hip dysplasia. Riley was complaining of hip pain earlier in her volleyball career, between middle school and high school, and I was asking doctors about it, but it felt really intermittent and perhaps just like growing pains, until she just continued to complain about the pain. And I sought further evaluation, at which time we were told she had severe hip dysplasia and a torn labrum. We started the ball rolling at that point to see about getting her fixed. I didn't want her to have to deal with it later on in adulthood. And so I felt like we were doing her 60-year-old self a favor by getting hip fixed at 16. I knew that she was going to be active for a lifetime and at least her next 20 years of young adulthood. And so it felt like, let's just bite the bullet and get this done now. Sitting in a waiting room, those are the longest hours. And so I would stare at my phone. I would stare at the door that people would come out of to give us surgical updates. We were also getting texts, and so when I would get a text, I would just be flooded with relief. I felt very invited to reach out to staff and ask, how's it going? Well, the first night was rough, of course, because of all the alarms and all the support that they have for her throughout that first night. We really weren't at the hospital. We were not at Sky Ridge very long after the surgery post-op, because I think just because she is so young and so healthy, and I feel like young little bodies are just miracles compared to slightly older bodies. She was pretty interested in hitting her different PT milestones, and so when PT and OT would come to the room, those were exciting times, and again, so surreal watching her just learn to stand, take steps, walk stairs, the tiny little PT room stairs that they have. The first 2 weeks post-op were really pretty difficult. That's when her pain management really became the top priority around the house, and I'm glad that I took 2 weeks off work post-surgery. And actually we made some really sweet memories just watching shows and being together during that time. So now at the 5-month mark, I am so grateful because she's doing so much better than I dreamed that she would be doing. In retrospect, this experience was not nearly as terrible as I thought it was going to be, because I have a really good imagination, and I really thought it was going to be such a difficult road, but she is thriving now. She has gotten cleared to begin running again. She moves so very well. I was so sad to see my very able-bodied child set back as far as I knew the surgery would set her back, because as a parent, you teach them to walk and put on their own socks and shoes, and I just knew that we were gonna have a long road of recovery. I was sad for her to miss a season or a couple of seasons of high school sports, because they bring her so much joy and they really help her stay grounded. And I was worried that the surgery would be difficult on her mental health as well. It turns out that it's actually a fairly routine procedure that the surgeons are extremely experienced in, and it's a really streamlined process and that they can trust. I think just trust and try to step away from the anxiety, because parents are just afraid. And so know that it's very normal to be afraid, but when you take a step back from that, you're giving your child's future a huge gift. I'm just very grateful for Sky Ridge, for the team, for the surgeons, the nurses, everyone. We just felt very well cared for while we were here.